Welcome to Pretty Blonde Banter. I'm Courtney, the host of this mini podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, in today's mini podcast, I wanted to talk about my experience with men and dating in the North versus the South. If you tuned into my first introduction, you know that I was born and raised in Maine and lived here for a while, lived in New York, lived in Philly, and, was a northeast kind of girly. But I moved to the South, to the Bible Belt. I lived in Memphis, Tennessee, or just outside of it, and spent a lot of time there, a lot of time in Mississippi. So I've kind of had some experiences, North versus South, because I'm back in Maine now, and I've been here for a little over a year. So I've had some experiences with men, and I think I want to talk about it. So since being back here and being divorced, I have had my fair share of men from around here kind of reaching out to me and, trying, keyword, to have some game and ask me out or just talk to me. And you guys, it's just so different than the South. So one thing that I have noticed is men in the North are much more just everything on the table. This is what they want. If it's sex, then they are right there, that they want sex and that's it. They just don't hold back. And to me, it's kind of a turnoff, because I'm old school and I just don't go for that. So that took some getting used to. It was just, like men who don't even know me, wanting to like hook up and stuff. That was just so weird. I never experienced things like that in the South. Southern men, I'll say a majority, they're very gentlemanly. They just don't do that stuff. They want to take you out on a date. And this is going to lead into something else. I have noticed that men in the North, they don't know how to date. I mean, the things that they want to call a date is weird to me. So I have had so many men here ask me if I want to go out for coffee or get a drink. And I'm like, that's your date. That's your offer of a date. And I'm not trying to sound like conceited or anything, but again, being down south, when a guy asks you out, he has a high value date planned. He wants to either pick you up or pay to have a car come and get you, and, take you to a really nice restaurant and have a really nice dinner, talk and get to know each other. Either before or after dinner, go do something fun, something interactive, anything that just kind of gets you out there, but it's a high value date. And I have not really seen that here, which it just kind of blew my mind. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's just normal or what. I can't remember what it was like when, when I was a kid, listening to my aunt when she was dating or something. I don't remember it, like, hey, let's go for a coffee or let's go for a drink. Like, no. I think then there was more effort put into the dates. I don't know. It's weird to me. It's like the guys here, there's just no effort. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it has something to do with the women around here, which that's a whole nother story. My God. I could do a whole nother segment on just the women around here. But I don't know. Everything around here just seems very thoughtless. I did have one man, if he's listening, he'll know who he is, who his ideas of dates were phenomenal. I mean, the things that he wanted to do, like he listened to interests that I had, that he also had common interests with, and he would set up these dates that were just beautiful. So, I'm not saying this is every man up here, but God, it's a majority. So now when I get asked out by a guy, if he is like, oh, like, you want to get together for a drink or coffee? I'm like, no. Like, it's an instant no. Like, sorry. No. If you want to go out with me, like let's do a high value date, like something meaningful, something that you're actually putting thought into, not just driving down to friggin' Dunkin' Donuts, no. And I already know, there's going to be men like, oh yeah, but that costs money. If you're not putting money into a date, then you shouldn't be dating. I'm not trying to sound like snarky or snooty or anything, but these generations, they have just lost the art of dating, and that's sad. I'm not saying that you have to spend a whole bunch of money on something, but plan a little something, just a little something, something that is a little bit more effort than just going and sitting your butt at a coffee shop or getting a drink at a bar. No, that just, no. Hard no. The other things that I have noticed about men, North versus South, is if you're in the South and if you're a woman and if you're walking down the sidewalk with a man, he will, like, as soon as you walk out of the door somewhere or get out the car or something, he will be right over and move you to the side away from traffic. He will, put his arm out so you can hold his arm when you're walking. If it's raining out or something, he'll either, use his jacket to cover you so you don't get wet, or he'll have an umbrella and hold it over you, things like that. I have not seen that, not once, since I have been in Maine or New Hampshire, in this area, I just don't see that. It's sad. It's so sad. Again, it's like this lost, form. And it just blows my mind. A lot of men that I have even, questioned that, like, oh, like, like if this was a scenario, what would you do? They don't even know what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know. I feel like chivalry with Northern guys is just dead. Like, they just don't have it. Sorry guys, but I just don't see it. I just don't. The one thing though with Northern men that I have been experiencing is that they're very just random, and they'll do like random acts of kindness just out of the blue, which I never experienced with Southern men, So I promise I'm not ragging all on Northern men. You guys, you have some redeeming qualities here. But with Northern men, they are very quick to want to be helpful. And they, as weird as this is to say, Northern men, they almost want to be more of a provider than I witnessed in the South. Which, Southern men, I mean, they are providers. Not saying they aren't. But these Northern men, I mean, they really up their game. I mean, they want to genuinely provide, and they want to genuinely make you happy and make your life easier. So there is, these chivalrous parts that Northern guys have. And that one really shocked me. One thing that I have found, though, that is kind of like, is that Northern guys are very judgmental. Whereas Southern men, they worship their women. And they are very much more accepting, like for me, speaking from my experiences, I had a baby and, my body changed after I gave birth and it just wasn't the same. I had, little stretch marks and, it took me a year and a half to lose all my baby weight. And Southern guys were very they think you're hot no matter what you look like. They're into you. If you're their girl, they're into you. Northern guys, though, they're much more just nitpicky, I feel like you almost have to be perfect for them. You can't have a stretch mark, or if you're over 130 pounds, you're you're too big. And I don't know, they're much more they're a lot more about the looks. They aren't so much, personality driven. They are all about the looks, which I don't know. It can be quite amusing at times because you'll have these guys that are complete bow wows, and they're telling me that, because I have, a little piece of a roll when I bend over or something, that I'm fat, that I need to lose weight. So I don't know. It makes me laugh. I don't know. Men, if you're a man listening to this, you men are weird a little bit. Just gonna say, not judging, but I am judging. So those are just a few of the things that I have noticed when it comes to Northern men versus Southern men, kind of in this, dating world. I know that there's more that I could talk about, but I don't want to do it all in one little segment here because I want to keep these segments, a little bit shorter so they're not super long podcasts. So I'll probably tap back into this again, but I think this was a really good start. If you have comments, feel free to leave them because I want to hear from my Southern men. I want to hear from my Northern men. Ladies, I want to hear your experiences, especially if you've lived or been in the South versus the North. What do you think? Have you experienced this? Please, comment and let me know. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this mini podcast episode. I appreciate it so much. As always, please subscribe to my channel here, Pretty Blonde Banter. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave a comment, like I said. I want some feedback. All right, guys. Until our next podcast, I'll see you later. Bye.